Welcome to Did She Really Say That? The podcast for women who are done following the traditional business rules that don't serve us. I am your host, Katrina Van Housden, and in every episode, we break down what it really takes to scale your business as a woman. No burnout, no BS, no apologies. So if you're ready to discover how your natural female intelligence can become your biggest and most authentic advantage, grab your free guide at createherplanner.com/free. Now let's dive into today's episode. Well, welcome to this episode of Did She Really Say That? And I'm laughing already because I know exactly how this conversation is going to go today. Because I'm here with Dorothy and she's going to take us on an incredible journey of this conversation. And I promise you, the two of us talking and sharing training, you're going to sit here and you're going to want to hear this again. I promise you. So who the heck is Dorothy? So she's the co-founder, and I thought this was absolutely brilliant. Women Belong. Oh yes, I just said that. She has co-founded Women Belong, a community built on generosity, support, and ladies, meaningful connections. You know, not this, oh, you're just going to make me a buck, or how can I sell you something? Like, that's not where she's at. With her signature talks and permission to belong, she challenges the ideas that belonging is something to be earned and instead encourages women to claim it for themselves. I'm so excited for this conversation. So, and not only do you claim it for yourself, but you extend it to others. And we were just briefly talking about how leadership changes for women and how we don't lead from a space of, I want to tell you what to do, but really of a space of like, how do we, in our strengths, elevate each other, step the best way forward? So, Dorothy, thank you so much for being a yes and joining us here on this episode. Did She Really Say That? Because you know what? Dorothy's going to say some stuff and you're going to be on jaw on the ground and she's probably going to like maybe offend you. Yeah, even more so. I love this already. So we're going to have some fun.
I hope to not fucking offend too many people.
Fuck it. Whatever. You're going to have somebody be offended. They'll turn it off or skip it. They'll be fine.
They'll, you know what? Don't forget to put your big girl panties on, ladies. I fucking hate that when
What?
people say that. Put your big girl panties
Yeah,
on.
what does that mean? Like,
I
do I
don't know.
not have to have like big girl panties? Are you saying that I'm a child all the time? Or I'm a little girl? What?
I don't know exactly what it means, except that I think it always, what it infers to me is that like you're acting like a little girl, right? You're acting, and that's such bullshit. Like part of it is living into our emotions and our feelings, right?
Yep.
And we have been taught so well how not to do that.
Yeah, don't be emotional. Don't feel too much. Don't cry. Don't, everything. It's like the don't,
Don't
don't,
be,
don't, don't, don't.
don't be a crybaby, right? I'll give you something to cry about.
Oh, yeah, that was
Right?
one of my favorite ones. You're
Yeah,
crying. I'll give you something to cry about. I'm like, hey,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, I'm just thrilled to be here, Katrina, with you.
yeah.
Um,
Let's
we've had,
talk about this. Go ahead.
well, I just want to say we have pre-conversations when you're doing something like this. And what I found, I fell in love with you, right? I mean, it's like I couldn't wait for today to happen because the conversation is always spirited and
Yes.
and meaningful. So thank you.
It is. Oh, absolutely. So let's start off with what had you create Women Belong? Because I think this is a really good segue into a lot of what we're going to be talking about, ladies. We hear this. We belong at the table. We belong here. We belong there. But there is this sense that it's more than just a position. There's so much more to this conversation. So how did you come up with this business?
So we were, my business partner Kate and I were in a different networking organization, and we felt that things had to be different. There's, of course, a longer story, and it's probably uglier than I'm painting it at the moment. That we had this epiphany one day, but
Oh, you were in a BNI, and then you had this epiphany that that sucked. Got it.
right, well,
Okay.
it wasn't BNI, but it was another one, and what we found was that our values weren't aligned. And if your
Mm.
values aren't aligned and you're doing business with these people, it really feels inauthentic.
Yeah.
And like, how can I show up? How can I invite other women to this space if I don't feel safe or feel like I'm seen for who I am? And so Kate and I got together and we saw so many people, women, showing up, trying to fit into the molds that they thought they were supposed to be in, and entrepreneurs slugging it through and talking about KPIs and talking about all this bullshit that was really not necessarily about who they are today, who they want to be, how they want to be seen, and the idea of having a permission to belong, right? How do I belong? How do I create that sense of belonging? And how do I go into spaces where I feel like I belong? And then learning over time, belonging is a decision and a choice I make for me.
Mm.
Nobody gives me that invitation to belong. I choose.
Yes, and it's not about asking permission for a seat at the table. It's knowing the seat's already there for you and it's already yours for the taking.
Or
Plop your butt down.
build another fucking table.
What?
What?
I
Right?
can build another table? Are you
Right.
like
Don't
that's
bring Yeah,
insane.
don't bring a chair to a table that where it's broken already, and where the space is limited and you know what? I love men. I do. I really do. I'm in love with a man. I gave birth to a man. Love men. But they do man spread at the table, right? And they do take over space. And I truly believe that we need to have at least 30% of the people at the table women in order
Yeah.
for us to start shifting things to where they need to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think as I've done more networking, it's interesting when it's a group of women that are there that show up early or are there first, the conversation that takes place is vastly different. And then the moment a guy shows up, and it's no disrespect to men, but there's almost like this getting small because the man has entered the room. And I think some of it's cultural. I think some of it is societal based. I think some of it is upbringing. And so when you're talking about 30% of the women being in those areas, in those places where it's predominantly been male, there is a shift in the energy. And even the guys respect it. I've been hearing and doing research that even boardrooms and board members are super grateful and want more women in the boardrooms because they have a curiosity. They're not posturing, right? The guys are peacocking, like, hey, I don't, women are going in going, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Well, I think, there's an organization called the 30% Coalition, which I think is absolutely brilliant, that talks about getting 30% of a board with women,
Got
right?
it.
And, my theory is this, that if there's one woman in the room, she doesn't get hurt. If a second woman is in the room, they're oftentimes competing with each other rather than going for the community good. And once you have three women in there, you have enough heft, you have
Mm,
enough breadth to go in and wade in and to know that you're supported and that
mm,
you can be supported, you will be supported. And what they found is that if boards are 30% women, the company is more profitable
yeah.
and their employees stay there longer. Go figure.
It doesn't surprise me in a lot of ways because I think as a woman, we look for the collaboration in a company, not the competition. I think when you have an all male driven top to bottom, it's all about the competition. It's pushing each other for a bottom line that constantly moves. I don't know why it's called a bottom line because that sucker moves all the freaking time.
Shifting sands, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is crazy. So if so women belong. So what? So it's a company, it's a community. What else is it like in the world for you, and what do you want it to be?
Well, I want us to go galactic. Do you know what that
We're
means?
smiling. We're going galactic. We're going to outer space and beyond. We're going through dimensions and space and time travel. We're taking this to a whole new level of awareness. Yes.
When I say that, my butt cheeks clench a little bit, right? I'm like, what the hell does that mean? But what it means is to keep dreaming bigger, to outside the box, to challenge the mistaken rules and myths and beliefs that I might have about how we grow and who we are. I do strongly, strongly, strongly feel that we are in a time where where the feminine is on the rise.
Okay.
I don't mean that means that the masculine gets completely superseded.
Isn't that like the feminist movement where it felt like it was squashing the male, like
Yeah,
it was trying to over dominate? It was kind of like the reverse side of that.
well, and the feminist movement was, let's face it, also a largely white women
Hmm.
movement. And the rise of the feminine, for me, recognizes that both you and I have both feminine and masculine values, traits, and they're really friggin' just human.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we've had to say this is feminine and this is masculine. But let's actually understand that all of this stuff is about being human. But I think that, I've been picturing it lately as the yin and the yang, right?
Mm.
And that I don't know which one is which. I think the yin is male. But let's say
Yin is the female, yang is the male. The
okay,
yin is actually what we've been missing. The yang is what we've been gifted. Like
gifted, right.
we need to
It's
we're
out of
missing the other side.
absolutely. And so the yang has just gotten so big and, just like all over here.
Yeah.
And the yang has been so like, let's bring everything back into balance
Yeah.
because that's how we win. Because they are great doers. The
They
masculine
are.
is a great do. And you've got a lot of masculine in you. I've got a lot of masculine in me. I couldn't have survived in corporate America and gotten to the levels that I did without, because that's the only people who were moving ahead were people with the yang, right?
Yeah.
I remember, and I think I may have told you this, that at one point, one of my bosses said to me, "You're the best relationship developer in our company." I grew our business to 60% of the agency's business. Okay.
Wow.
Ridiculous. And can you just not can you not build it so much? Because the others are out of whack. I'm like, wait, why is that my problem, number one?
Right.
But when someone said that to me, when the guy said that to me, I was like, "Oh, does that mean I'm not strategic? Does that mean that
Mm.
I'm not succeeding in their world because I'm the best relationship manager? Because I bring cake over to everybody's birthdays and make sure that our clients are feeling seen and heard, and that's why we're growing business because we're trusted, right?" So that feminine value I felt like I was being dissed. I think he
Yeah.
was actually complimenting me. I didn't take
Maybe.
it that way, right?
Yeah,
So,
'cause it's crazy because that is, and I've talked with even women in sales, and I'm actually really impressed. I talked with a gentleman. He says, I love having women in sales because I just tell them the time frame it needs to get done. I don't have to sit there and micromanage their everything. So this is one of those outlying men that says, like, I give women a project, I know it'll get done within the time frame it needs to get done. If not, it'll be better than what I can ever figure out for myself, and they'll
mm,
have relationships that come out of that help grow the business. I don't just have to sit there and manage everything they do. He's like, I love having women in business. And he's one of the few that I've come across that just had that kind of like insight into like what you were talking about, that relationship piece, that connection, that making the office feel like a safe place to come to that you want
right,
to come into.
right.
Otherwise, it becomes this hate and distrust icky place to be.
This masculine toxicity. Just read an amazing book that has this. I'll have to send it to you, the excerpt about masculine toxicity.
Mm.
But it's just, I am finding more and more men who are saying that about women, though. I was with a gentleman yesterday and he's like, I want women to just run all of this. Like, why aren't they running the world? I'm like, yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm not
Uh,
sure that we want to run the world. We want to run it with you because I'm so good at being or I'm getting better. I have to say, I'm a master. I was a master at doing, but
mm-hmm.
um, I am getting so much better at being and creating. And my guys do a great job of the doing.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's the space we hold for each other,
Yeah.
right? Like it is, because you're right. I mean, I hold a mask. I think, let's go back into this one because this one always kind of um, was they're trying to define masculine and feminine as like women are more feminine than masculine and men are more masculine than feminine, and that we, and I was, but you said this, it's like this feminine and masculine energy, it resides in everything on this planet.
Yep.
It is not a human condition. It is a, we live on a planet with both masculine and feminine energy through the plants, through the water, through everything that we are literally engaging with has it. And we look at it as if it's a pussy or a dick.
Yeah.
Straight up honesty right there. And I did say that, by the way. Mhm.
Well, I do hate it when people call someone else a pussy. I'm like, God, they must be really strong. Those things
You
are
have
strong.
this, you do have this one. This keeps coming up for me, by the way, every
Oh,
time
my
something.
meme? Yeah,
You
from Betty
yes,
White.
the Betty White meme. I know it's on your computer. Can you like pull it up and just read it? Because I think this is the best thing, a best quote from Betty White ever. And for those of you that are
Of course I
listening,
can. Of course I can.
this
It's right
this is
here.
fantastic because this reminds me every single day. And every time I read a book or I watch a movie, and they always talk to him, it's like, why don't you just grow a pair of balls? Or like, oh, you got big kahunas, or you're a ballsy chick. And I and then Dorothy goes,
Dorothy
did you
said,
see
"Don't
this?
say that anymore."
Yeah, I don't say that
Right.
anymore. Like, you want to reclaim your pussy, ladies, because this is freaking awesome.
So what Betty White said, why do some people say grow some balls? Balls are weak and sensitive. If you really want to get tough, grow a vagina. Those things take a pounding. She's awesome.
I love Betty White. She holds nothing back. The older she gets, the wiser and less filter she's got. I'm like, keep going, girl.
Yeah, well, she's passed now, right? She like
I
I
don't.
think
Did
she
she finally? You know what? Because every year they always had like a Betty White like passed or something, or she passed
yeah,
her birthday. So I never could remember if she did or didn't at this
I
point. There
think
was
she
so
did.
much. I think she has, but that woman is fierce.
She is fierce and so funny. And she would say things, and you were just, I was watching a bunch of clips of her on YouTube, and I was just like, are
Hmm.
you frigging kidding me what she got away with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I
And I want to be her. I just
You
want to be
yeah,
her.
you should embody Betty White completely because you have the ability to I mean, you started off this conversation with fuck whatever we're doing on this thing,
Yeah.
right? And I think for the women, we have to take back our language, right? Pussy is not a
Totally.
bad word. It's not, it should not mean less than. It shouldn't make you sound like if a guy calls another guy a pussy, the guy should be jealous that the guy got called a pussy because that's a positive statement,
Absolutely.
according to Betty White, right? Like,
Absolutely.
come on.
Well, the same thing with the word bitch. I'm like, I want to reclaim the word bitch because, frankly, from my perspective, a bitch is a dog who protects her young and
Mm,
those that she cares about in her territory. And when we're called bitches, it's meant to demean us. And we have to stop, we have to stop and take in these microaggressions and understand they are a microaggression,
they are.
right? It is a place for us to, so pussy is one. When someone else calls, and I'm gonna, the word cunt, I
Okay, you
hate
say
it,
that. You can say the word cunt.
right?
It is part of our language.
It is part of our language, and I hate it when other people call a woman a cunt because for me, it's like, why are you having to call a woman about a body part, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we do it with men when we
We do
say
call
dick,
them a dick occasionally, like you're
yeah,
being a dick.
or a prick
Like,
or
or
an
a prick.
asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just but it's the meaning is so the way it's said is so mean and dismissive, and I think
The
we should just
tone of it is
yeah,
vastly different.
yeah. I think we should just if we want to call someone anything bad, I think we should just call them an asshole, but assholes are important,
Yeah.
right?
They get rid of waste, man. Somebody's gotta have them.
Right? So
Everybody's got one.
maybe we should just call him, hey, he's such a fucking nose. I don't know. What do we call
I'm just thinking of fuck. He's got a fucking nose.
him?
It's a
That
freaking
fucking
ear. He's a
nose. I'm
fucking
kidding.
ear. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're gonna redesign the whole language for you. But I think this is such an important conversation because we do, as women, even demean ourselves to each other. Yeah, you didn't see this, but Dorothy just went like,
Yeah.
yeah, we do. We downplay each other in such a derogatory, belittling way. I think that for me is frustrating. And to be an example of this, back in my culinary days, I actually disliked being an all-female kitchen. At the time, having an all-female crew, because we were pitted against each other in competition, did become a very catty little like jabs here and there type of environment. And so there was a sense for a while that I would prefer to work with the majority of men because I didn't have that cattiness. I think what's been interesting though is I attended another event and recently I was at a chef's gala,
Hmm.
and the head chef of the bakery department was a female, and her entire staff, except for three, was all female. They all got along, they all respected each other, they took care of each other, put out incredible product. And that goes to show you, I think, in some ways, as a female, when you foster the female relationship in a what perceivingly could be a male dominant arena. I think you have the ability to really change the dynamics of that.
Absolutely. We have within Women Belong, we have 7 guiding principles, which I don't remember all of them, but one of them is goodwill,
Mm,
right? Assume goodwill. And I think it's such an important thing. And I think also that women were taught, were observing, right, how men were playing the game. And it seemed, and men are incredible backbiters
yeah.
and incredible gossips. They love to share shit about someone else. And so we started to copy that because we thought that's the way for us to move ahead, or that's the way we're supposed to be. And when we take ourselves back and we ask the question, is this the choice I want to make?
Mm,
Is this how I want to show up? Um, is this the theater I want to develop? Is this the soap opera I want to watch? No,
yeah.
no, it's not. It's how do I come together and work with someone else and have compassion for them and build on each other's strengths. And I think that's, for me, that's the magic of my relationship with Kate. You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for a better business partner. All
And
right.
you guys met each other in different networks. Kind of talk to us. So let's have that little bit of discussion too, because I know a lot of women are solo entrepreneurs or they're solo, business owners. They have this fear of working with somebody else. They're definitely, having another female. There has been so much propaganda around, that bitchiness between two women running a business kind of a thing. What would be some of your advice or insight since with working with Kate? What have you learned about, running a business together?
So when either of us gets the utch,
The Utch.
remember Fran Drescher from The Nanny? She had the utch, right? And if you get the utch, like something's off or it doesn't feel good, we talk it out.
Okay.
That's the first thing. Um, conflict, addressing conflict is an incredibly important aspect of any relationship.
Agree.
Kate and I have had differences of opinion, but we talk it out. We work through it until we come to a mutually agreeable point of view. We had a situation yesterday where we were dealing with a change in a leadership of a circle. And I suggested one thing, and she suggested another. And then I said, well, this is why I'm thinking that. And she said, well, then this is why I'm thinking that. And as we started working through it, it's like, oh, well, it became really clear about how we were going to move forward
Mm.
because we allowed each other to have that conversation, and rather than saying, oh, fine, okay, whatever you want to do.
There's that fine word again. Oh,
Fucked up,
fine.
insecure, neurotic, and egotistical. That's what FINE
Oh,
stands for.
say that again. That was brilliant. I've not heard that yet. So
Okay. So
fine.
this is from Louise Penny, who writes the most amazing murder mysteries about a small town in Three Pines up in Canada somewhere has no road signs to it. And there is a poet there. She must be like 95 years old. Her name is Ruth Zardo. And she has a duck that goes around saying, fuck, 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 fuck. And her line is FINE stands for fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and egotistical.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. I like that. Like,
yeah.
because it's such a generalization. Is you're either fucked up, you're egotistical, you're insecure about something. Like, there's no communication around the word fine.
Well, because you've just forced and shut down any communication. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I'm fine. Yeah. No.
And it has tonality too. How many ladies out there listening fine has like different tonalities? Oh, I'm fine. Fine. Fine.
Yeah.
It's got like different tones for us and how we
Oh,
we
and how about you've just had an argument with your spouse or your partner, and inside you're like, fine, just be that way.
yep.
Yeah.
So conflict resolution, the ability to communicate,
Goodwill.
um,
Always assuming goodwill from each other.
always assuming goodwill. Okay.
Yeah. The goodwill is really a critical component because um, if you don't have goodwill, if you don't think someone's operating from the best interest of the organization or you, right? We had another conversation. We have conversations all the time, and I said I want to have a banner for my I've got a keynote speech coming up. I want a banner for it. She's like, All right, good for you. Let's go ahead and get one. I don't want a banner. I don't care about a banner, but I can see why you would want that. Fine, right? Like the littlest shit,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
But she knows why I want to do what I'm doing and where I'm
Mm.
going with that. Yeah, and it helps that we have a 20-year age difference between us as well. So
Why
she's
does a 20 age difference help? Like that would seem like it would cause more conflict.
oh no, because she sees me as this wise fairy godmother.
Okay.
Um, No, because we understand our roles,
Mm.
right? And she is where I was 20 years ago.
Mm.
She is in the doing, getting shit done. And I am so working towards being in the being. Because for most of my life, I don't, I want to ask you this question. Um, have you felt like part of your body your entire life? Or have you lived in your head or your heart or your body? Where have you lived your entire life, do you feel?
So, up until about 4 years ago, which led me on the journey for this podcast and this company, Truth Bomb Marketing, it was all in my head. That was my one big revelation, like realization when I was talking with a business muse. She got me because she asked me, "Well, have you consulted your pussy?" When I was talking about having a business and growing it, and I looked down and I was like, "What does that have to do with anything?"
Yeah.
And that's when I realized how disconnected like I had shut down this because I didn't want to be perceived as a woman.
Yeah.
And so I went all up in my head, but I felt so out of touch with my body. And I think that was one of the most powerful and beautiful things that I continue to experience. Like you talk about the creating, the becoming,
Yeah.
the empowering yourself as a being. Because I feel like we grew up as women having to be in this overly productive state of doing instead of living in our true essence of creativity and being.
Amen, sister. I used to think of my inner locus of control being this. I don't know if I had said this to you, but like Caesar's leaves, around your head, that it was just this like thin white disc. That was my inner locus of control. And what I've been working on for many years is making sure it's a white column that goes through my body,
Mm.
right? That encompasses all of my chakras, that really helps me align with my body in a way and so I think that Kate she's in the doing phase of her life. I'm in the being phase of my life.
Do you feel like you shift or at least share with her kind of the experience of gifting her the model of being so she gets to see what that's like instead of constantly always being in the doing? Because I think that's, for me, that'd be the curiosity as,
Mm,
20 years apart, because there is something she's modeling from you as much as she's in the doing of what she does.
absolutely.
And I would hope that that wisdom is going back and forth.
I think absolutely. I think
Mm,
that um there's a great respect for each of our roles. I am appreciative of her role, and I believe she's appreciative of mine. If we have a member that we need to speak with, and she's like, Dora, can you handle this one? I'm like, absolutely. I got
mm.
this. And then there are others where I'm like, I'm not touching this one. Nope.
So, in growing this business for women, especially you're talking about women belong. So you're dealing with a lot of women at different levels. What does your business structure look like? So there's you and Kate as the partnership, which you've created, and
Yeah.
then underneath that, what does the business model look like?
I don't even know how to answer that question
Okay.
because, and
Is
I'll,
it just strictly community? Is there courses? Is there events? Like,
yeah.
I guess that would be kind of like,
So,
what did you kind of create together in this Women Belong? Um,
So, so the reason why I said I don't know how to answer is that from an infrastructure standpoint,
mm,
I handle the financials, she handles the marketing, right? They're just the two of us running
okay.
this whole thing. That said, we have a leadership teams for each. So within Women Belong, it's a membership organization,
Okay.
and there are circles. And we started off primarily in the Chicago area. Then COVID hit. We were right before COVID. We were in Asheville, North Carolina, launching in
Mm,
Asheville, North Carolina. COVID hit, and we went from 50 meetings a month in person. I only would go to 4 or 6 a month, right? But We had 50 meetings a month in person to 50 meetings a month online. So we curated every single one of those calls.
Wow.
Yeah. And in addition to that, on the third Friday of every month, we have a lunch and learn, which is
Okay.
open, free to members. It costs a minimal amount for non-members. Anything from CRM to scaling your business to AI to
Mm.
organization, all sorts of things. Then we have bi-monthly. Wait, is that every other month? Is that bi-monthly? Yes, bi-monthly. We have introductions, which are opportunities for new members to come together, as well as with longtime members so that they can network just within the Women Belong network. All right. So that's introductions. And then we have a connections, which is an online progressive networking, which is for members and non-members. That's every other month or so. And then 3 times a year in the Chicagoland area, we have in-person progressive networking events.
So,
And then the circles meet. Each circle meets twice a month.
okay.
Either the first and third week or the second and fourth week. And they're
So,
anywhere from 3 to 22 people in that circles. Yeah.
and do you limit it to 23? Is that the intent? Is that it
22,
stays kind of
23.
more intimate and
Well, so
relationship building? Like you can only build so many relationships,
yeah,
to be honest.
yeah, it's absolutely relationship building. And
Mm.
the idea is that the women are going to come together. First of all, if you think about twice a month, that's 50 weeks a year, right? 26 meetings. And so we figure that there are going to be some for closed for holidays and that sort of thing. So
Right.
that's why we came to 22, so that
Okay.
every woman would have an opportunity to show up and to share about their business and who they are.
That's actually really smart on how you kind of came up with that number and just in terms of like valuing each person and their opportunity. I hope you all ladies were taking lessons because she really did say that and it's
Yeah,
brilliant. And I want you to understand how brilliant that conclusion is because it wasn't some arbitrary number she came up with. It wasn't say, "Oh, we're going to have a pot of 50 or 25 just to have a number." You can hear the thinking process of how do I respect those in the community, right? How do I give the sense that they can belong?
right.
And I think that's, part of it, that's what we look for. And I think as women, I want you to understand you don't have to keep doing it the same way. You don't have to keep following the construct which we've been gifted. And I love that you're like putting out there a different type of thinking. So thank you for that because that was insightful for me. I hope ladies that you were listening, it was insightful for you too.
There's another thing that I think was differentiating. We first of all, any of the um, goals that we put in place,
Hmm.
we don't look at it as being punitive. We always are looking how to be generous so that, for example, a member doesn't show up for a while, and somebody was like, "She's not showing up," and I'm like, "Okay." So Kate and I call this woman, and she's, "Well, I haven't been showing up because I had a baby." That's a really good reason not to show up. And so we
Yep.
share that with our leadership teams because each circle is run by a leadership team, and each leadership team is 3 women. And why do we do 3? We did 3 because we really wanted to make sure that each woman was totally supported in their role. So that if they couldn't be there, another one could. And so that, we gave them weird names because we couldn't, there was no good names to give people to run to run the circle. I didn't want to do manager, dictator, director,
The traditional hierarchy language that's been
manager,
gifted to
yeah,
us. Yeah.
chairperson, whatever. So we have a diameter, a radius, and a point person because we have
Mm.
circles. Women belong
Yes.
to circles. And it's really when we come up with new levels, it's always about a point on a circle in some way.
Mm.
But and you and I were talking earlier a little bit about how leadership now is a shared responsibility, not only among
Yep.
those 3, but the leadership training we did today for our leaders was about shared responsibility and that every person in that circle has a responsibility to the circle to lead, right? It's not up to the leaders to invite people. It's not up to the leaders to do all the work.
Yeah. It's interesting as you say this, and I'm kind of reflecting even within my own, business over here in Truth Bomb,
Hmm.
because initially it started off with three of us as co-founders, and then it evolved. I brought in another lady that I basically trained her in social media back in the day. Like I brought her in and I was like, here's what I know about social media and scheduling. Like, can you help me figure this out kind of a thing? And she took it and she ran with it. But what's been interesting is that once we lost, I don't like lost wasn't a bad thing. Like there was no animosity, there was no anything angst between one of our founding co-founders saying, hey, this isn't for me. This is not where I see my life going. And I'm so thankful she was strong enough in where who she knew who she was to come and share that with me, and that I was in the space that says, you know what, you're right. Like I don't want to hold you here to get you to be part of something that doesn't actually fit who you're becoming in the
Right.
world. And so the mutual like letting go of that, creating the safe space for both of us to continue moving on the path and journey that we were each meant to. And then for a brief time, we came together. We learned from each other. We respected each other. And then from there, we've separated out, but still maintained the friendship. And I think that's one thing when you look at as women building businesses, we tend to think we have to sever the arm if
Oh,
we
oh,
don't align or
yeah.
something shifts and one of us wants to go a different direction. I think as we get into this, that's the evolution. That's compassion. That is like it's okay to move on and let people grow in their own ways. I would never want to hold on and make somebody smaller. That was definitely one thing that came from me. I would never want to hold on to her and make her smaller when she really wanted to expand and it was just in a different way.
I love that. Absolutely love that, Katrina, because we've been talking about this too with, in a membership organization, people come and people go.
I do.
And there was, and one of my very good friends was in one of the circles and she was leaving and somebody said something and I was just like I had the urge that I had to say something. And what I said was this, that just because these people are leaving this circle doesn't mean they're out of our lives.
Mm-mm.
The relationships that and the connections that you have built here should last a lifetime because of what you've shared together. Because people swear in our meetings, people cry in our meetings, people tell horrific stories of what they've gone through in their lives. And they've been vulnerable and authentic. And it's kind of odd when you think about it in terms of a referral based networking group, right? Because then
Mm.
it's like, oh, we need to get the next realtor in here. Well, okay. But that doesn't mean that the realtor who left before shouldn't
Is
be
out
considered.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And just because even if they're not a part of the organization, and I say this all the time to people, like in some ways, of course, I care about the organization growing because I know it will. But do I care if somebody joins or not? Does that mean that I'm going to support them or not? No. Whether you join the organization or not, we're still going to be supporting you and talking to you because who knows who needs you next, right? Or
Yeah.
who we can connect you to. Yeah.
Yeah. I look at it for me, like even, interviewing you, it's like I know that that you are now my network. Like as things come up and I'm finding myself more and more of that connector as I continue to talk to them, I'm like, oh, you need to go talk to this woman. Like, oh,
Yeah.
there's this sense of a domino now. It's like it's not just me. It's not this conceitedness that this is my business. This is my community that it's got to be done my way or the highway. What I've really started to learn is the expansion of allowing and receiving, not even allowing, but even receiving the gifts of
Yeah.
other women and letting them touch my life at different points and knowing that I've touched theirs and that, there was always this one thing throughout my whole life that always stuck with me is there are two paths in the road.
Mhm.
And at times there's multiple paths on the road. So like as you're walking along, there might be a path that comes up beside you and then all of a sudden joins yours. And that's a friendship. That could be an acquaintance. That could be a job that you're currently in. That could be whatever it is. And there are times as you continue to walk down your path that those paths veer off. They go in their own journey. And there are other ones that come and they just keep crossing over your path. And I look at those as like that's really what life is about, is like there are people that will walk the walk with you for a very long time. And those are people like they become your best friends. They get to know everything about you. They become your significant others. They become your children. They become like all these people that had walked on that path. But at some point they are still walking their own path. They've touched yours, but it's not your path that they're walking.
Oh,
Does
Katrina.
that make sense?
So,
What
in
did you hear?
okay, so in Feb, and we're going to tell a little story if you don't mind.
Oh, absolutely.
In February of 2021, I took myself to Estes Park, Colorado, where my soul, part of my soul lives. Rented a cabin on the river. The river was frozen, of course. And I went there with the express purpose of deciding what my hero's journey was going to be. Okay. So then someone suggested that I watch the oh, I even know who it was. Oh my God, I have to give her a call. A woman suggested that I watch, I think it's called Finding James or something. It's about
Mm,
no, not James. What's his name? Um okay. Finding Joe, Joseph Campbell. And so I listened to this stuff around Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey.
hmm
And then I was reading a book called The Lincoln Highway. And in The Lincoln Highway, there is an excerpt there that says if the the hero does not figure out that he's on a journey, he doesn't start on the journey with the purpose of going on a journey and being his hero's journey. In the middle of the journey, he's on. We find out that he's on his journey,
Yep.
and
In
then
the middle.
in the middle, right? And then there is another one who said, the Knights of the Round Table, when you do the arc of these all these stories, right? All these fables and all these stories, the arc is the hero's journey, right? And so,
Mm,
in the Knights of the Round Table, the knights all enter the forest at a different point. They all go on their separate paths, which is what you're talking about.
yeah.
So I'm there. I'm thinking about this. I'm like, oh, well, what is this? What is this for me? And all of a sudden, there were two incidents where I was kind of dizzy in Estes, and I came home and I thought I had might have COVID. Got tested. Was first told I had a urinary tract infection, which was not true. Um,
Okay.
right? Get my blood work back, and I'm like looking at my blood work, and because my husband had been sick for 4 years and eventually
Mm.
passed away, knew how to read blood work, and I was like, oh, I'm fucked
Why?
because my hemoglobin was below 8,
Low
so
hemoglobin, not good.
not good. So as I was looking at this, I'm calling doctor's office, and the doctor calls me and says, have you ever considered going to the hospital? So I'm like, okay. So I take myself, and I was talking to Kate, and Kate's like, what are you doing talking? And I said, well, after this call, we'll do it. And she goes, no, you go now. And I went to the hospital, and I'm sitting there in the emergency room. I'm sitting there in the emergency room in a chair that I had sat in many times with my husband as we would go into the
Mm.
emergency room. Scott, the triage nurse, comes out. I live in Evanston. There are 80,000, 100,000 people who live here. So the triage nurse, I would know his first name is really bizarre, but he comes out and he starts asking me, and I'm like, hi, Scott. I'm pulled into the back. Angel, who is the nurse, is taking care of me. And as I'm lying there, I'm like, oh, I don't need to start my hero's journey. I'm already on it. But the truth is that there's a difference between the hero's journey and the heroine's journey. And there are a number of authors, Joan Perry, one of them, is among them, who talks about the heroine's journey as the journey within. And that's what our
Mm.
journey is.
I love that. I love how you differentiate between the heroine journey and the hero's journey.
Yeah.
And I just got full chills when I just even said that out loud. Because I think so many times in the world of marketing, in the world of business, we always talk about the hero journey.
Yeah.
And as women that are in business, the heroine journey is different.
It's different. It's not about us going out and slaying the Cyclops or being wooed by the sirens or being caught on Cersei's island for a year eating wonderful foods, right? It's really about us going inside and finding ourselves as women and communing with other women.
Yeah, I agree. Like I was just thinking as you're saying that the community of women is such a critical piece. The wisdom from, and that's, I think, what I was kind of pointing to with you and Kate is that wisdom that's shared generationally that oftentimes is missing in our households here in the US, um, in our family structure. And we see it in other cultures, but there is the essence of do women come together generationally and just have wisdom talks?
Why is it so hard
Mm.
to find quotes by women?
We,
Why is it so hard that we think every generation of women we're like we have to do this because we're not standing on the shoulders of the women who came before? And why
yeah,
is that? Because their voices,
we're silenced.
yeah, mic drop.
Yeah, it is one interesting thing, and I will say, because we're going to continue this, because as I know this conversation is just profound for so many of you that are listening, because it's just hit me on so many different levels as Dorothy and I've had this conversation. And you know, the battle cry even for this podcast is the raising of women's voices. Because
Mm,
the thing for me is that if we don't start talking to each other as women around what's going on in our own bodies, with what's going on in our menstrual cycles, why we're feeling these certain ways, our feelings that are happening, what our bodies are doing, the changes that we have, if we're not able to openly communicate that, we're at a disservice to each other. I think every woman should be a part of what you're doing, including myself. So we got to figure out a way to make all this happen. But you have a PDF for really even how to, because we did talk about conflict resolution, we talked about conversation. So share a little bit about this one pager that you've designed and created that you're gifting our
sure.
listeners here today.
So first of all, I want to say, to connect with us, go to womenbelong.com. It's kind of easy that way.
Yeah, the links are going to be down in your show notes here also. So any of the links they have, ladies, it's going to be in the show notes. You know the drill. Show notes, click, follow, stalk. It's okay.
There you go. So this is a one pager, and it's a one-to-one networking meeting form.
Ooh.
And the idea is how to break the ice, set the tone, how to dig deeper, how to think about what your business goals are with regard to this conversation,
Mm.
and to be curious, right? And it's about, first of all, obviously, we want to understand the person's business and identify how we can support them. But then it's really the personal side. How can I build trust and a stronger personal connection with you? And then um, come up with your own collaboration goals. How can we work with somebody? And I really challenge you all to to be with me in abundance. Scarcity is what's been driving the chaos in the world these days.
Agree.
There is abundance out there. And my example of abundance will be just simply this, that in Women Belong, there's not one person on my block in Evanston, Illinois, that is a member of Women Belong. There are probably at least three or four who should be on, but none of them know what the fuck I do. And that's just on my block. Like, I'm not talking about across the street,
Yeah.
right? And if we put our hands up, if you put your hands up and you just feel, somebody once did this for me, and I was like, oh my God, feel all of the money that is flowing through this
Mm-hmm.
world. And it's for us to reach for it if money is the thing, but it's not the thing, but that's just an example of living in abundance.
Yeah. You're surrounded by money and ideas, and as a woman, as a receiver, all you have to do is ask.
That's right.
And you can never ask too much for what you want to receive in your life, because here's what's different around men and women. Women, when we receive to give. When men like charge or take or plunder, which is how they usually have gained riches, it's at the cost of somebody else. That doesn't inspire us as women. And so when we look at what we're receiving in money and the impact it's going to have in our use and understanding of that, money energy and money flow, and understanding the power we have to transform the money from a aggression into an abundance, that I think begins to shift everything and how we view our lives, our business, our friendships. It stops becoming about taking and it starts becoming really about giving.
It's about community, to your point,
Mm-hmm.
Katrina, right? It's not about how we succeed as individuals, but how we move life forward for all,
Agree.
right?
And we do that as a collective. We do that when women hold hands.
Yeah.
and step forward together. So,
Mic drop.
so welcome to stepping forward with us here in this episode. Thank you so much for jumping in. For those that are watching their video, there was a little bit of a video with Dorothy, but trust me, her words of wisdom, if you're listening, are all you needed to hear. So with that, thank you for joining us here on today's episode of Did She Really Say That? Because Dorothy dropped some mic drops and truth bombs along the way. And connect with her, download that PDF, follow in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Bye, everyone. If today's conversation hit home, don't just listen. Take the next step. Download the free Create Her Authentically guide at createherplanner.com/free and discover how to build your business in alignment with your natural rhythm. And if you love this episode, please leave a review. It helps more women find the show. I'll see you in the next episode.